I mean, the fact that we're in a pandemic completely has changed my entire outlook on everything.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done so much internal analyzation that I feel like I'm totally different. And so I sometimes when I look back at things I did a year ago, it feels like it was like 6 years ago.
Hi, I'm George Griffiths, and I'm here with Tate McRae for the next instalment in Enemies in Conversation series. Tate, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, all things considered. I feel like it's best to start every interview with how are you doing? Like at this time, are you okay?
I just want to get out of lockdown. Like I am going crazy. I need to see people. I
Yeah.
need to leave this household, this family, just for 1 second. That's all I need.
I know, I feel the same. It's like, man, leave me alone for 5 minutes.
Oh my God, and my like I always say my walls are so thin. So I was like recording yesterday and literally my dog was barking, my dad was doing the dishes, my brother was eating, my mom was on the phone. So it was literally just like chaos in my house and I couldn't do anything about
So
it.
the next single where you're like your mom like banging on the wall telling you to shut up. Kind
Oh
of.
yeah, it happens all the time.
So Tate, you're here because you are part of Enemies 100, the 100 Essential Emerging Artists for 2021, which is very exciting. I'm sure you'll agree. So for people who might not know much about you, I was wondering if you could explain to us who you are as an artist and a pop star in a sentence.
I'm a 17-year-old dancer, singer from Canada who writes music.
We're here because you've had a massive breakout year in 2020. Massive congratulations on that. And you have a new single out, Are You Okay? Which I think I must text the boys who ghost me on Tinder like every other day or so.
Amazing. I love
Can you
it.
tell us a bit about the new single?
Um, I was really excited about this one. I've never really worked with the ukulele before.
Hmm.
So we were just playing around. This song was like super fast to write. It was with a girl named Lowell and Frequency, and I was literally just writing on my bed. And we started off with the concept like the kind of mocking idea of like, "Are you okay?" And that was like that was like we're like that's kind of funny. So we started creating like this crazy ass story around it. I don't even know. We go into such depth about like missing my birthday and missing my shows and making it like super super like this guy is messed up and he really messed me up.
Yeah.
Um, and then we just kind of created this song in like literally an hour and a half, and it's a fun song, and I was really excited to release it.
Yeah. Because you've said before in interviews that Are You Okay is a bit of a pivot for you in terms of content. You've said it's a bit sassy and feisty. So I was wondered, it's a bit of change in perspective for you, and why was that?
I mean, throughout quarantine, I feel like my mind changes every single day. Like some days I wake up, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be the most confident person in the entire world, and I'm gonna sass everyone in my family, and then the next day I'm like totally opposite. So, I mean, I think I've been writing like trying to write songs at least from totally different perspectives, just because there's not much to grab from at this time. Like I'm not seeing people, I'm not getting involved in any drama in my life, so I think it's like honestly just you know, playing from a different character and seeing, how other people would react. I know that like this song's like super cheeky and super like there's a lot of people that deal with relationships like that. Just I mean, I do for sure. I definitely do. Kind of sassy, so.
Is that something you've experimented with before then, like playing a character in a song that's not necessarily you?
Yeah, I think that songs are always a bit of a character. I mean, you have to go into a zone when you're writing a song. I think obviously every song that I personally write is taken from like real emotions, and otherwise I wouldn't feel the song at all or wouldn't connect to it. But I think there obviously has to be you have to like have a sense of where are you, to picture the setting around you, to picture the person in front of you, and that's the only reason that I can write is if I completely like visualize and paint out a story of where I am and what I'm doing. Otherwise I won't actually be able to describe the feeling even if I've never experienced it before.
Did that help with the video then as well, especially since you had like a proper like visual guide?
Yeah, because I think the song feels like super nostalgic to me.
Hmm.
With there's like bells in the background, and I think it's super feisty, but then again, it's also very emotional. In the lyrics, because I think the cool part about the song is that it's like really like boppy and bouncy, and then has like a really really deep meaning behind it. Um, And I feel like everyone reconsiders their entire life when they're sitting in a car.
Then. Because this is, I want to say it's a bit of a contrast to You Broke Me First, because obviously You Broke Me First brought us all very low and in
Yeah.
our feelings. And Are You Okay is kind of like the pivot back to like happiness almost.
Yeah, there's a million different stages of how you're going to recover from a relationship. And I feel like you need a song for every single stage. I mean, everyone obviously goes through a point where they're like, you know, really, really, sad and depressed and angry with the person. And then they're just like, frick you, dude. I don't want you to be in my life. And I think that's honestly just, I think how getting over a person, you have to go through those phases mentally, and
It's
otherwise you're never going to get over them.
the release of the emotion sometimes, isn't it? That's the best bit. Was it a
Totally.
hard song for you to write then in that sense of letting all that stuff go?
Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes I write about like the thing about me is that I usually am just like, all right, move on with my life. I'm attached like in the moment, but I can, detach myself really quickly. That's like a bad trait of mine.
It's
But
not.
so so like usually writing songs I'm like over situations and I don't really care anymore. But that's actually how I can write. I feel like I have a harder time writing emotional songs when I'm like in the middle of a really, intense heartbreak or something. When I'm after the fact, I can look back and like analyze everything that I thought and felt and was going through.
With the new single, was it almost like you knew this was the, because obviously You Broke Me First was massive, and we'll get into that a bit later. But was this the obvious follow-up? In a sense, did you record it like, yeah, this is the next thing that I want to do?
Honestly, it's been so hard to choose what comes next. I mean, I've been writing a million songs in quarantine, so this one was kind of funny because I wrote it like super recently in, I think it was in like September or something. And I've been sitting on some songs for like 3 years that I might release next year. But I think it's all about timing and what feels best. And I think that that kind of felt like a part two to You Broke Me First. Like, it was, like I said, it was like a different perspective in a relationship, and it just seemed like the perfect song to put in that place. So, I mean, it's always just like a group thing, like with my team and my family and whatever song we're vibing with at the moment. That's usually what we go for.
Did you play for them and they were like, yes, send?
Yeah, actually, they were really excited about it. And I was too. I think it was a really, really cool and cheeky song, and so was everyone else. And once we're all on the same terms, we usually drop a song.
Because Are You Okay is trailing a second EP from you, but I was wondering, like, the track, is it a bit of a change in perspective from your first EP, All the Things I Never Said?
Yeah, I look back at that EP and I feel like I am a completely different person. I mean, I released that when I was 16. I'm 17 now, and I feel like my entire life has flipped around. I mean, the fact that we're in a pandemic completely has changed my entire outlook on everything.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done so much internal analyzation that I feel like I'm totally different. And so I sometimes when I look back at things I did a year ago, it feels like it was like 6 years ago.
And I think, especially as well, like, you'll get this when you're older, but the change of like 16 to 17 is like seismic. Like, you are like a different person in those times.
Oh my God. It's crazy how big of a jump you go from and how much you learn and the people you meet, and I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because everything's online for me, so I can like look back and see how awkward I was a year and a half ago. So I'm kind of stuck with it.
But I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the new EP, like, who have you been working with? What's like the vibe for it? Is it like a concept behind it?
So, I mean, how much can I talk about? I mean, I've been trying to put together this EP for the past 8 months, and it started off with You Broke Me First, but we didn't really know what was gonna happen with You Broke Me First.
Yeah.
No one did. I think it was just like a song that I pushed for. Um, and I've been reshaping this EP for like 8 months, and it is not like every single month it is a completely different set of songs, which is crazy because then my ideas have to change, the whole concept, everything. So this thing has been like constantly changing, and I think I'm settled on like a really, really strong group of songs that I love. But yeah, I've been working with some incredible writers. This girl named Victoria, J Cash, well, oh my God, I don't even know, Lowell, Frequency. There's a whole bunch of them that I've been working with, and I really can't wait to actually put out this this EP because these songs are perfect together, I think.
And like I know you touched on it a bit today, but are there any songs that we haven't heard yet that you're very excited to get out there? Because it sounds like you've been working on it a while.
My next song I'm about to drop, I am so excited for. I don't know why. I love it. I can't wait.
Is it a bop?
I think it is a bop. I mean, it's like kind of like a slow bop,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think.
those are all the range now. Like, rare is the time you can see someone dropping like a bop bop.
Yeah. No, it's catchy. I'll say that. It's a catchy song. I like it.
So now I do want to get into You Broke Me First, because obviously that's like a massive thing for you. You had a massive breakout year. It was your first top 5 single in the UK, over 400 million streams on Spotify, which is insane. But for all that to happen in like the weirdest year of our lifetime, it must have been like a trip, basically.
Well, it was very interesting. I always say this because so much happened, and everyone keeps telling me so much happened, but I didn't even know it was happening because I was in Calgary, like living my best life, like tanning on the roof, like working, doing schoolwork. I've just, haven't even noticed what's been going on around me, which has been like a really weird feeling because people will sometimes say to me, like, how do you feel? That your song's doing super well. I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even get in my car to turn on the radio, so I wouldn't know.
Because you said you were like kind of like in isolation for the release. Was there a moment where you realized, oh shit, this is like taken off?
It was funny because I released it in April, and I don't think it really took off in like July, August, September, then grew. So it was like 4 or 5 months later, that it like kind of popped off, which was really weird.
Yeah, because it must be weird that also with like a breakout single, there's a lot of like pop star pageantry that goes with it. Like you've got the late night talk shows, you've got the award shows, you even got like interviews like this. And for that to like shift and change so dramatically, it must have been quite like, to be creative in the way that you present the song to people now that you can't do like a live show.
That's the thing. Like, we've been traveling to Toronto. I work with one choreographer, and we're like, all right, how are we gonna reinvent this song again? And how are we gonna make this like a whole different story and a whole different creation? Because I think that's like a totally big challenge is trying to take one song and all your ideas and then completely wipe it and start fresh.
Because especially because I know you've got a dance background, haven't you? You're a dancer mainly, and you were on. Was it So You Think You Can Dance in the US?
Yeah.
So choreography must play a massive part in like your live shows, basically.
Yeah, my choreographer, I'm super close to her. She's like my sister. Her name is Michelle Dolly. We've actually been working together since I was like 8 or 9. So she was with me throughout the entire like dance industry as I went through there.
Yeah,
And now she's with me now, which is kind of cool because we're just really really close.
yeah. And I don't mean to like freak you out, but it must be like a crushing like expectation to like follow up something that big as well. I can't.
No, it is. Like I think it's always hard, and I feel like I'm the worst because I put the most pressure on myself,
Yeah,
and I'm so critical that I'm like constantly being like, you gotta strive for more, I gotta strive for more, and I think that's a hard mentality to live with because you're not really satisfied with anything you do.
yeah.
But it's good when you have someone who's been with you throughout the entire, process to be able to keep you grounded and be proud of your little successes. So.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think it was like a soundtrack for most people's lockdowns as well, especially through like the TikTok like boom as well. It must have been very nice for you to see it have such an impact on so many other people.
Oh, it's amazing. It's always so cool when it's such a personal song that literally feels like your diary, that's like really vulnerable to put out, starts to connect to people because that's literally all I want is to, put words in other people's mouths and, be able to tell stories that they couldn't really say.
Speaking of the changes that we've gone through, because I know you've touched on you've worked a lot remotely now, that must be a massive change for you. Like as an artist, how you make a song, that's changed dramatically.
It's super interesting because Zoom calls, it takes out a whole aspect of like the vibe in the room and the energy. And that's like probably like 90% of what creates a song. Is you being with people and being, like reacting off people's ideas. And that's the one aspect that like Zoom doesn't give you because people can't hear you're on two different sides of the world. It's like kind of hard. Um, and then things are written really, really quick. And people have lives to continue to. So usually these sessions are like 6, 8 hours long. You spend the entire day with them. You get to know them. It's like a full-on process. And then you start to open up and create like a
Yeah.
song. And on Zoom, it's kind of hard to crack that when you're meeting new people, especially.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it hard to connect with someone that you've met for the first time? Because I know a lot of these sessions, this is like the first time you've met this person, and all of a sudden you're like, I can't actually see you and interact with you. It's like,
It's so weird because I'm also that type of person that I'll open up to someone once I really know them.
yeah,
And when I really trust them. That's just my personality, and that's kind of not good when you walk into a writing session because they expect you to literally tell you your life story as soon as you walk in, and you're like, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm going through a heartbreak." Like that's weird. I'm not
yeah.
gonna do that. I'm not gonna give you my entire baggage as soon as I meet you.
Because I know Julie Michaels has talked a lot about songwriting sessions being like a form of therapy. So I was wondering if it was the same for you.
Oh, totally. I think the only reason why I'm like kind of sane is because I literally write everything down. And if I don't, I will like stay up at night, I will overthink everything and I will go crazy, have crazy anxiety. So I like need to in order to release everything that's building up inside me.
But it also makes it so true to you as well, then, doesn't it?
Well, sometimes I'll like, so I write all my journal entries in my notes, and sometimes I'll literally just like read through them and get ideas out of that. Like literally just my, you know, verbal, nothing, no filter, no nothing. It's just my literal diary, and I take ideas from that and try to draw from it in songs.
And also, without wanting to sound like a complete old man, you are massive on TikTok. I sound like a geriatric. But you've got 2 million followers. I checked this morning. I downloaded the app just for this.
Okay.
33 million likes. Is like it must be so sudden for that to happen while You Broke Me First is popping off, and you're like, oh, my career is launching, and now I'm social media famous. Like, what's going on?
I mean, the weird balance is that I feel like I'm bad at doing social media. Like I feel like I'm not like an influencer just because I don't feel like I post enough or I don't post like the regular content to be like in that category.
Yeah.
Um but so my content is so random. I don't even know what I post on TikTok. It is just the most random shit I've ever seen.
Is it kind of like an outlet for you though? Are you like, oh, well, I'm done writing like heart-wrenching ballads today. I'll just post a video of me dancing to something.
I mean, it's fun. Like TikTok is so fun. And I think honestly, like you can just see me being an idiot on there, and I think that's the cool thing about my fans can literally just watch me be at home and be with my family and
Yeah.
be normal.
Because I was going to say, does it feel like the two things have happened in a vacuum to each other, or are they like synchronized? Like you can see you're connecting with your fans over TikTok, and then the music is getting picked up more as well. Do they happen almost in sync with each other?
I mean, that's what I hope for. Like, I think that's the challenge is you got to balance working your ass off and then, making sure that you're real to people and that people can actually see you as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always hard because no one's going to actually know who you are unless they meet you. But if you can be as real as possible online, I think that's the only way that people can, get to know you as much as possible.
Because I know you started on YouTube as well back in the day.
Yeah.
um, can you see like a link between your start on YouTube and like did that prepare you almost for TikTok? Because I know it's like a demanding. You've got to post videos quite a lot.
I mean, the cool part is that on like almost every single TikTok I post, it's always like, I remember when she was with her little keyboard with her green stickers on it and in her room and I was watching her. And those are like on every single video and they're the cutest things ever. And it's like cool because I started that when I was 13, 14. And to think that, they like grew with me. They saw me write my first song. And they've been kind of just like following me through this is super cool.
And then 40 years time, you'll be collecting your pensions together.
Yeah.
Because I know I was doing some research and I know that you got discovered through YouTube as well, wasn't it? RCA picked you up through YouTube, so that must be another mad thing to happen.
Yeah. No, I used to write weekly songs. Like I would make a challenge where I'd be like, you have to post a song every single Friday, and it was a good challenge. But it was very very what's the word? It was very very I was going to school at the time, and literally I looked back at it like a couple months after school, and I was like, oh my god, I literally posted my diary on the internet. Like, who was watching that?
I was gonna say, is there a bit of like a hangover from that where you're like, oh, I should not have posted that video when I was like 13? And now
I
people,
mean, the thing about songs is that song is like an art. I feel like it's an outlet, and I feel like there's, nothing I would really take back on that aspect. I mean, I was very obnoxious when I was younger and made some crazy videos. And some of my intros, I was like, oh God, they're brutal to watch. But, I think songs, I will forever, it's cool to see the growth always.
100%, yeah. And I also, one trend I find really fascinating is like the TikTok music scene. So obviously, the TikTok is like, almost like Spotify now for finding music. And I find it fascinating that people are almost like engineering songs to pop off on TikTok and then go commercial.
Oh, it's crazy to see how the world is like the industry has completely shifted.
Yeah.
Um, Even the people that are literally just blowing songs up in their bedroom and they're, making them pop off on TikTok and then they blow up on Spotify and then a week later I hear them on the radio. It's like crazy how it's working right now. Um, and I think it's all about just like being genuine to like creating your own music. I feel like if there's so many different musicians and so many different people on there that it's like if you are not following your own lane, you're just gonna get blended in with every other person.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and is that a struggle for you, or do you know who you are as a person and an artist very well to be like, I would not do that, but I can do this kind of thing?
I mean, I go through identity crises all the time. So, I mean, sometimes I don't even, I have to screw my head on straight to
Yeah.
realize, especially because, you don't really know what's ahead in this pandemic and you can't really make any plans. It's very short term. And I think that's a thing that, like, when you're on social media so much a day, it's like you're constantly comparing yourself and seeing yourself beside a million other people. And there's obviously, like, some days I'll walk down and mom's like, "What are you wearing?" And I'm like, "I'm just trying something." It's a constant battle in my head.
Because you're so early in your career as well, it must be hard to find an identity when literally the entire world is like shifting around you to try and like anchor you into a certain place.
Yeah, I think it's super hard, and I've even noticed it like with all my friends, like everyone's just trying to find out who they are, and I think social media is just like jeopardizing that so much. It makes it so cloudy and foggy and hard to really know, where you want to go and who you want to be.
Do you have to take some time off? Because one of the stories that I read today was Dua Lipa was saying that she doesn't run her own social media accounts anymore because of like the anxiety that comes with it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think I'm gonna end up doing that at some point. I mean, obviously, I like connecting with my fans, but I feel like it's like it can be draining to see everyone's post, and there's so many emotions that go through that you don't even realize in the moment until you're sitting by yourself with yourself after, and you realize like how empty you feel, and that's a terrible feeling.
Because I was going to say, for someone who is as like a star on social as you, do you have a specific kind of strategy, or is the freedom that you feel more of like being yourself more than anything else, rather than like taking items off a list?
Yeah, I think that's the easiest part. I mean, whenever someone tries to tell me to post something or try to control my social media, it just weirds me out.
Yeah.
I think it's like it should just be like a genuine thing and just like your random thoughts of the day, not something that's like super put together or cleaned up. So I think that always weirds me up. So I just like to have the freedom to just do whatever I want.
For your songwriting, I was just wondering if you could speak to us if, like about specific influences that you have, any artists you've been listening to that have really influenced you over the past year.
I've been really into Frank Ocean lately. He's so good. Oh my God. I can't believe I wasn't obsessed with him before. I've been listening to him for so long. Every single day. I've loved SZA lately. She's so good. And then Kid Leroy is really good right now. I feel like my music taste is all over the place, and I usually write songs based on what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
Um, and the cool thing about Frank Ocean, I feel like, is I don't think I've heard one song that sounds anything the same to him. And, I think that's the cool part is it kind of just makes you want to push yourself. Like, I don't even think his songs have any structure sometimes. And that's the coolest thing. He's just such a cool dude.
Is that something that you'd like to do as well, like when an album comes along, to be like a proper like long player, like from beginning to end, no skips, no filler?
Totally. The whole thing I want to do is, that's the exciting thing is that hopefully I'll be creating an album like, sometimes this year, start working on one.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the coolest thing ever is like creating an intro and making you literally go through like a full roller coaster of emotions, and not even wanting to skip one song. That's what I love about albums. That's like the Weeknd's albums are very much like that. Like you just feel like you're like in a daze throughout the entire album, and then it finishes, and you didn't even know it finished.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to do, and I'm excited to get into a room with some people that I love and create that.
Yeah, that'll be sick. Like a melodrama type thing where you're just like you're in the house party from beginning to end and you can't leave. Loads of
Seriously, no.
yeah.
And that's the different thing about EPs and albums. That EPs is like it's hard to create a start to finish because they're so short. So it's usually just like a compilation of songs. And an album, I feel like you have to really put time into, how you feel, listening to it, and every single thing you experience while you're going through it.
Yeah. Have you got any ideas so far, or are they percolating currently?
It usually comes when I write songs. Then I start getting ideas. I feel like because I'm working on this EP, I haven't really thought about the album yet. But I do know, like, I try to analyze structures of different albums and see what I would kind of want mine to be similar to. So, kind of.
Whose have you been analysing?
I've been listening to Frank Ocean. I feel like Blonde is a really good example of, a well-structured album. Billy's album is really good. The Weeknd is really good. Post Malone. Been listening to Kid Leroy's album. I feel like it depends, but I think it's all about the story that they tell within each song.
Are there any artists that you're like on your hit list of like wish list of collaborators for the next year or so?
Leroy for sure. Kid Leroy. Yeah.
And what's your main goal career-wise for the next year or so, would you say?
I mean, honestly, I just want to start performing more. Like doing the European Music Awards was one of the coolest experiences ever. And I think the fact that I got to actually bring my dancing in legit into a performance was like such a dream come true for me. That's all I want to do next year is, get on stage and be able to perform my songs. That's literally all I want, and in person too.
Have you gone on tour before?
I went on one headlining tour in January,
Yeah.
and it
I
was
got
only
right
like
at the
a month
start.
and a half.
Literally right at the start of like all the shit that happening.
Oh my god! Literally right before.
That's mad. But obviously this time it would be bigger, I'm assuming, bigger venues, bigger set lists, bigger crowds.
I'm excited because we've already sold out a tour next September, which is gonna be so fun. Like I can't believe it's just something to look forward to right now. Just all I need.
Um, and I have one last question for you that I'm really interested in your answer, because I know you went to ballet school full time as a kid, and I just want to know, what do you think of Tiny Pretty Things on Netflix? Like, is it exactly the same?
Oh my god, I've been watching it. I'm watching with my mom, and she's like in the middle of watching 8 other shows right now. So we haven't finished it, but so far I'm very interested.
Yeah.
It's really good.
There were loads of murderous ballerinas around, I'm assuming, in Canada.
Oh, and it's the thing I really appreciated is that it's like good dancing. Like they're technically trained dancers, which is like, refreshing to see on Netflix and stuff. So it's good. It's a really cool show.
Thanks so much for joining us, Tate.
Oh my god, thank you for having me.
Thanks for chatting. So I've been George Griffiths, you've been Tate McRae, and this has been Enemies in Conversation.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.